Hello, welcome to my project. This is Kaiden Yun, and today we're going to learn about game theory. I'm teaching these two jerks exactly what it is because neither of them took a college on anything about Congress or government, so here I am.
We didn't go to college.
Anyways, so to start off, this is basically what game theory is to you two. It's a framework network used to analyze strategic interactions between rational decision makers and in politics. And so game theory is often used to make decisions in situations where there are multiple outcomes dependent on the choice of each player. Now, putting to that, players right here, as you can tell from the players thing, means in political scenarios, a range of just different people pretty much, or things basically. So it can range from countries, politics, parties, interest groups, and individual politicians.
Okay.
And basically each player has a set of possible strategies that they can choose from in order to get a better advantage in things like voting, trade deals, and other types of engagements that happen between political alignments or political leadership.
Okay, so what are strategies?
So strategies, if you let me get there,
Sorry.
strategies are the possible actions that players can take, and players choose their strategies based on their goals and expectations about the actions of the other players. For example, if Hillary Clinton wanted to run for the presidency, we talked about this in class a long time ago, considering that she was a senator at the time back in I think it was 2009, 8, something like that. Considering she was a senator at the time, in order for her to run for president, she would have to give up her seat in the Senate. And so that is a risk that she would have to take in game theory, where would losing Senate mean that she could win the presidency, but also if she would lost, she would lose her seat. So would it be better?
Risk evaluation.
Yeah. Well, so would it be better to stay in the Senate and just keep that, but not be able to win the presidency, or try and lose that so that you can win the presidency? And that's where strategies come in. And that's just one example of just many different examples that I could have chose from. And so the next part is games. So a game in game theory refers to an entire setup of players, strategies, and payoffs. There are different types of games, such as simultaneous games, where players act simultaneously, or sequential games, where players act in a specific order. And these different styles of games can affect the strategies players take in order to win. So for instance, in most government settings, there's a speaker, and usually the speaker can kind of direct or lead the conversation to a particular point or order. Now, usually the speaker has a list of things that they can tell people, or they can speak upon, and sometimes the lists don't actually include everything the speaker can talk about. So usually what that leads to is people strategizing around what they want the speaker to list off in whatever meeting they're having, whether it's Congress or Senate. And that can lead to multiple parties either voting against or with it, depending on what the speaker decides to address and bring up, so that everyone can discuss it.
Okay.
So that's where the different type of games comes into play. And then next thing is the equilibrium. So in game theory, equilibrium refers to a stable state of the game where no players has an incentive to change their strategy. The most common equilibrium is where each player's strategy is optimal and no player has a clear advantage in the game, meaning a fair shot for every player, no matter who has the better strategy. So basically, kind of like how I was saying, if the speaker decides to talk about just one certain thing and everybody has a clear goal on what they want for that one certain thing,
And there's no point for them to change.
there's no point in them to change, because especially if, for example, if one player decides that they want to change their strategy because it may hurt another player, but there's no benefit for them hurting the other player, then that would be another example of where there's a complete equilibrium, because there's no reason to do that,
other than to just
just a mudsling,
screw
basically.
somebody over. Yeah.
Basically. And then finally is the applications part. So a big question is, why does this matter in political science? But the reason is that game theory is used to analyze a wide range of political phenomenon, such as voting behavior, international relations, negotiations, conflict resolutions, and public policy. It helps researchers and policymakers understand the strategic interactions between different people and predict likely outcomes in complex situations. So basically what we were talking about before with if your strategy is to try and get a better voting hall or get more people to vote with you, then that will help you strategize to what the outcome of the vote will be depending on how everybody else is feeling. And so that's a strategy that that one of the players could make up in the game that could help them get whatever they want to go through. And basically, in conclusion of all of this, the game theory helps provide a powerful analytical tool for studying strategic interactions in political science and helps to shed light on the dynamics of decision making in politics. And that's it.